welcome once again to another edition of Today's History, Upper Ohio Valley. I'm your host, Bob Connors. We have an excellent program for you coming up in just a minute. And we're going to start by introducing Lyras, sorry about that, running for the United States Congress, 6th District, Ohio. Lou, welcome.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
We're going to have a little conversation here.
Well, that'll be fun.
And have some people who will be listening to us, and I think it's going to be kind of a fun time here. What we really want to do is allow people to get a chance to know you and what you think and who you are. So how about if we just start with you just saying who you are and give you a little background of what you do and all that thing and what you're running for?
Well, obviously I'm running for the 6th District, Ohio, Congress, which is from Marietta down there, Washington County, all the way up to Mahoning County. It's a new district.
That's big.
It is not an old district. It's a new district. These are new lines. My background, I was born in 1950 in Youngstown, Ohio. Graduated high school in 1968, public high school. I like, because I'm a proponent of public schools. Went to Ohio State University and graduated from there in 1972. Not too long after that, now during this whole time I was working for uncles and contractors as a painter. I am a union painter. So I would working on many of the power plants that dot the Ohio Valley, from Wellsville all the way down to Gallipolis. Wow. And some of the factories. So I worked there when I was my apprenticeship, so to say. And then as I made my company in '76, I actually I started my painting company and still worked up and down the river. Mid '80s, we started getting environmentally sensitive, and there were issues. Me with a group of people, we developed machines that recycle grit. I worked with the EPA, and a lot of my work moved out to the East Coast, Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey. In fact, right now we're still working on the Ben Franklin.
Oh, yeah. So you've been all around.
Well, I've been all around because in Youngstown there wasn't the work. Yeah. And you're a young man, you have this type of company, you have to go where the work is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And unfortunately, there are many young men today who don't know that.
Well, okay, I promote that. I mean,
that's good.
We're a trade union. I'm still active in the trade, and we're trying to get the apprentices in and young kids in and tell them this is a good living. Yeah. Okay, there's some sacrifices you have to make if you want to work. You're going to work out of town in some cases, unless you're in like a big city. But for the most part, it's been good. We're attracting young people into the industry.
That's a great thing to be doing, in my opinion. But let's move on to you're running for the Congress. What exactly would your responsibilities and duties be as a congressman?
Oh my God! Look at all the legislation that's going on now, especially at the congressional level, and then of course, like at the local level, making sure that this money that is coming in is spent in our area. Now, if you ask me any one specific thing, I'm learning about a lot of specific things that we could use these funds. Always try to get the funds here, always try to improve our district, and really try to listen. I'm the type that I never left an email unanswered. So what could I do? There's legislative issues, there's the American Recovery Act issues where money could be appropriated. There's so many committees and so many good things that you could do.
Yeah, well, I think those are good things, and that's what a congressman does. You know, I think, unfortunately, a lot of people don't even know what congressmen do. So you're being a big help to people for them to understand this is what Congress does.
Yeah, Congress is not really the state level. There's a lot of action there, but that congressional level is really important to support that. And no matter what, all the money that's coming from Washington has to get doled out to these districts, to our districts, and we got to make sure, and we got to be the cheerleaders for our district too. Yeah. I got to be the cheerleader. I got to be the one wanting to do this. And of course, you're electing a cheerleader with my background.
Well, that's good. And that's what has to happen. And I think people will be happy to hear that. that somebody's out there cheering for them and making sure things go well. We're going to move on a little bit. And I have some questions that are really about just what you think about them, just your opinion of them. So what do you think the biggest concern of people in this congressional district is this election cycle?
As I've been going around and talking to a lot of people, jobs are a big concern. Now, obviously, I'm a big jobs person. I'm union. I'm pro-union, and I always talk about that. That I've seen a lot, and to me, I could see now what's happening with this new acts that have just come by with climate control. I would like to see jobs forward thinking that we could be doing up and down the river, up in Youngstown, here. Yeah. Those are jobs. Just like the Intel factory in Columbus, and more of that type of work here. Jobs is going to help elevate, because I always talk about elevating a middle class.
Yeah.
Well, the middle class is the people that are working. And it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. We've got to elevate the middle class and focus on bringing industry here.
Well, those are things that have to happen, I think. So I'm glad to see you're on that track.
Well, you grew up that way.
Yeah.
I grew up that way. My dad worked. My mom didn't work. And he made a living, put two of us through college.
Yeah.
That's it. And we went on our vacations.
Right. And that's something we're losing sight of these days. We really are. But the next thing I'd like to just cover quickly is you're running a campaign. And what is going on in your campaign that's the biggest issue or problem for you right now?
Well, the biggest issue is just trying to get to talk to everybody on a low budget, because the money involved in running a campaign is immense. So what I'm trying to do, Bob, is more grassroots, get the signs out, go to every county, go to every affair, go do town halls. I've been so far to every county in the district. I'm gone at least 6 days of the week. Visiting people, talking to people, town halls that you want to invite everybody. And obviously, too, I go to a lot of union meetings because I've been involved in the unions. If there's a meeting, I go there, just talking to as many people as I can.
Yeah. I think one thing that our audience may not understand fully is how big the district you're running is from the whole east side of Ohio, basically. I wonder if you could talk about that, about what areas are included, and
I have
traveling up and down there's got to be a job.
I usually carry it on my phone, a little map of the whole district, and sometimes when I'm doing a talk, I'll print it out. So, because you are right, they don't know what the district is.
Yeah,
they don't know. So to describe it. It's from Mahoning County, all of Mahoning County, all the way down to Washington County, Marietta. And
how many miles is that? That seems like a lot.
200. I believe it takes me 3 hours to get to Marietta. It took me 2 hours to get here. And it depends. I either go down the river route or I go down Route 77.
Yeah.
So, and then it touches a little bit in Stark County and a little bit in Tuscarawas. Now, it's Monroe, Noble, and those counties, Jefferson, Belmont, all those are included.
Yeah. That's a very big job, I think.
It's still 700,000 people, approximately. It's still that many people. Whether you got to drive 2 hours and be someplace, that's not a big job. Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And remember, you get a staff. You're a congressman. You don't do this by yourself.
Yeah.
They have to show me where the front door is. So it's not. So we're not born that we know Washington.
Yeah, that's true. I think we'll move on a little bit here. I'm going to go to current events, and I'll just tell you about some events that are going on, and what we're looking for is just you to talk about it, what your thoughts are. Opinions, it doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong answer, just what you're thinking. And the first one is very recent. It's been discovered that the Chinese government has set up 54 police service stations worldwide. That's outside of China, as part of its United Front Work Department, they call it. And lawmakers recently have contacted the administration in Washington and demanded an explanation. They feel deeply troubled by why is a Chinese police department in America operating on this soil. And there hasn't been any response or answers yet. This is very new. We don't know what anybody's thinking about it or why or the wherefores, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are on it.
Well, I was in China twice through my Singapore, China, Asia. I've been there from businesses. Beautiful country. Xi Jinping is gone overboard with trying to control the dissidents. And he's took it upon himself that they can go into sovereign countries, other places, and arrest people or control them or bring them back. That's pretty much what it is. It's no different than any autocrat, officially or unofficially, watching somebody in another country.
Right.
And taking him away. Now, the one that you're talking about, I didn't hear that one.
They're in New York.
It could be. I mean,
no, it is.
Yeah,
it's widely reported. They're in New York.
So, but knowing what he's been doing in the country, knowing what the progress that it made right before he started clamping down on everything, I think he's setting it back, and this is wrong. But okay, let's pull ourselves away, and those are things that all the politicians have been talking about it, and I think now everybody's aware that we really got to disconnect ourselves from China.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have a choice. Now, will he stop doing that? You can't arrest an American citizen.
No.
You know, can you arrest a foreign citizen on our soil? No. But he's doing it. And if they sneak him away.
Yeah, well, what I understand he's doing is sending people out to these people they're interested in and saying, you go back to China, or we've got your family back there, and they're forcing them sort of to go back to China to face trial for whatever they did wrong, said the wrong thing, or did the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's bad. When I went there, he was not in power. He was just getting in. I knew of him, and I was in Hong Kong, and I was amazed. What a beautiful city.
Yeah.
You know, the freedom. It reminded me of a warm New York City. The press was free. Everything was free. And even when I went into mainland China, I didn't see that type of oppression. Now, I was in the electronic district, and I saw things. I mean, yes, there's some poor, there's rich, but I didn't see that type of suppression. And I was able to go on the internet anytime I wanted to, talk to anybody I wanted to. It was beautiful. Now, of course, I saw what they did to Hong Kong, and it's hurtful.
What do you think the Chinese Communist Party is doing right now with this kind of thing? This is pretty bold. I mean, I've never heard of anything like this.
The Chinese Communist Party before was a business party. Let's bring business in. Let's encourage all the American companies to go there, and they did. We ran. They were that. They were focused on sales, business, creating their commerce, elevating their people. What Xi Jinping, what he started doing is clamping down on all that freedom that they did have, little by little, and he clamped down on it. He put in jail one of the multi-billionaires because he spoke up against him. And I'm pretty sure if I look it up, he's still in jail.
Probably.
You know, so you're now, all of that freedom that you allowed people to, you excited people, you excited your economy, now you just clamp down on it completely. I don't understand it. I can't see that there are other people that want to do that. These are good people, these are brilliant people, but right now it's going backwards.
And that is interesting, and I think we have a lot to learn about what he wants to do. I think he's got a plan that he's implementing, but we'll see. You know.
Well, he wants to be a world power.
Yeah.
They want that. They want to control. And they still, I'm not going to say envy, they're envious of us because what did we do? But we did it with freedom. Freedom of the press. I mean, real freedom of the press.
Yeah.
You know, no fake news.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Well, I agree with you. I think it's the freedoms and our way of governing and our way of doing business. You know, that capitalist idea that has what obviously worked better than any country, but they get jealous of it and then want to turn that into a communist state, which has always failed.
Well, it's always been a communist state.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. So that was it. And they had to do what they did, but they didn't. They admired what we were doing, and they took it. They borrowed it. They were freeing people up. You're allowed to own your little business. You're allowed to do this.
yeah, that was a big change. I remember when they started doing that, I thought it would kind of end up in a different way, but it didn't.
You know, I thought so too. I did. I thought they would, come out of that and allow more freedoms. Okay, it's a one party,
Yeah.
so it's not that much freedom, but
Well, yeah, when you have one party controlling everything, you're going to have corruption, period. No matter what it is. That's what dictators do.
and that was a big thing that they had when I was there, 213. And I remember turning on the local TVs, and what was on? It was about the corruption that they had to crack down, in the different provinces, or this mayor did something else.
Oh, yeah?
So that's nothing, this isn't new. I guess people with power tend to abuse it, and we have to control it.
Yeah, what is that old saying? Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yes.
I think that might be the case there. Anyway, those are some good thoughts. Another thing going on right now that there's a lot of talk about is there are over 5 million crossings so far on our southern border, and the situation is not changing. There's over 100,000 Americans have died. I just read a report that in the last 42 days, a little over 6,000 Americans have died from fentanyl coming across the border. So what are your thoughts on that whole process there?
All right. We definitely have to control the border. I'm so against building walls and things, but there has to be some barriers. They're coming in too free. Now, we say so many come in. So many are being deported too. It's not that they're coming in and they're just roaming the streets freely. So let's separate people coming in, and let's separate the drug issue, because there are people that are coming in that want to get away from that and want to better their lives, just like my grandfather did in 1912.
Right.
So those people are coming in. Now those people, to me, I'm in construction, contracting. I'd like to see programs where these people are working. We do need workers too. Put them in programs. Give them green cards so they're able to work, not underground, not being abused, not being exploited. Let them work. They have to be legal, have to do everything right, and a green card is legal. Not give them citizenship, but we do need workers too.
Yeah.
We do need workers. We need people to tend our fields. We need workers in our restaurants. We need workers everywhere. I could tell you that I need workers in my construction, and that's one of the big things, shortage of workers.
Yeah, that's sort of nationwide in all industries.
Exactly.
Right now, yeah.
So I'm not saying that they're going to be CEOs, but geez, that man coming over the border with maybe his 2-year-old son and his wife, and they got here to make a better living, he could be productive. Now, if he's deported for some reason or another, but let's not let them be here and not participate in paying taxes, and let's not let companies, construction companies like me, let's not let them take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And I see that too many times. In New York City, I've seen it, where they're exploited. So
Yeah.
that's a different issue than the other one.
Yeah, there's several issues involved there.
Yeah, so we don't say that they're all coming over, they're all carrying drugs. That's not true.
Yeah. Do you think it'd be better to have an organized stop and apply to come in rather than just running across the border?
Well, it is supposed to be organized. It's supposed to be
not.
you stop. No, you declare that you're here, and then go through the process. I mean, it's not the same way where my grandfather came on a boat
Yeah.
and through Ellis Island, and then later my father after World War II. That's when my father came over. That border crossing is problematic, and we have to find what are the reasons that they're leaving. Remember, I can tell you that my grandfather wouldn't have left if it wasn't the World War I going on and a better life here in America, and they were telling them that they could all work in the steel mills and everybody had work. So he left, along with a whole bunch of Italians and Greeks and Eastern Europeans.
The Irish, the Italians, the Polish.
Yeah. They didn't leave their homes because it was good there.
Yeah.
They wanted to better themselves. And that's the same thing here. Let's understand that. Now, can we take on workers? I could tell you right now, in our trades, we actually need workers.
Do you?
Yes.
Well, I hear that from a lot of business people, that they need help and they're not getting it. So maybe that's how it'll get filled.
Open some of it up. And I know that there's legislation in some of these acts to open up many of the apprenticeship programs where we allow them to, okay, come on in. In fact, I had worked, right before Trump was elected, I was working through my union and the iron workers. My purpose was to stop the contractors from taking advantage. So what I wanted to do is, if you are any illegal, undocumented, you want to work, come and work with us. We'll sign you up to the apprenticeship programs. We'll fast track you. We'll help you get your citizenship, but you got to go through the whole program. Mm. And it was it never went through.
Yeah, well, that's a big job. It sounds simple the way you said it, but it's really a complicated, big job.
But we have the wherewithal.
About. Yeah.
Yeah, the unions can do that.
Yeah. Well, that's some interesting thoughts on that subject. Let's move on to another one. ICE is spending nearly $90 million a year right now, giving these people cell phones when they come in. What are your thoughts on that?
It's the first time I heard about that, but I know that we put ankle bracelets on many of them. We have to trank them.
They gave those up now and just give them phones in place of the ankles bracelets.
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, that's the thing going on now. I think it's because of the volume.
If you just isolate that one incident, you say that's wrong. I think that everybody's communication now are the cell phones. I don't think that that's going to hurt us. It might help us. So I can't say good, bad. I don't think that's $90 million sounds like a lot of money, but is it a way that we are tracking them? We're able to communicate with them, and we were able to tell them, you got to report here, or now you got to go home. Mm-hmm. I can't comment on that. That wouldn't, I'd want to make sure that whatever we do, it has to be humane, and it has to protect our country and our values too.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a fair answer. And then, generally speaking, how would you describe the current events in our country now? Just whatever you think sticks out in your mind.
Oh, geez, what sticks out in my mind now, the most, I'm saddened that we are so divisive. I'm saddened that we legislate, if it's Democratic, they legislate 100% Democratic, they legislate 100% Republican. That hurts me. That really hurts me. That's not legislation.
Yeah.
Then we're not legislating. That's not the way we're supposed to do it. What did it matter if you were an RRD and we're working in the Valley and we want to bring something to the Valley? Now, when I say Valley, I mean the Ohio River Valley. Right. Or we want to do something that's for the good of the country. I really don't like that. I was saddened yesterday, and I just saw excerpts of the January 6th hearing that happened, I think was Thursday night. I mean, I don't like to see that anger, that what are we doing?
Yeah.
I wasn't brought up that way. I don't think, and I want to, promote education, promote that we're a diverse country.
Yeah.
And we have to work together. So no matter what, that's my job issue is at least elevate people, give them good jobs with good union, good pensions and all that, making sure they understand what that means, bring the jobs here, and then spend a lot of money on education, Bob. Well, I would spend a lot of money on education.
That's a big one. You mean on the college level, the high school level, or
preschool all the way up to at least the first 2 years like associates.
Just
and then
education.
Also emphasize, you don't have to go to college. Get your high school degree, but I want you to go, here's beautiful jobs: heating and air conditioning, electrician, plumbers, carpenters, painters, ironworkers.
Yeah.
Look at everything that you could do, but at least give them that wonderful background in high school and emphasize that. Don't separate them. Don't say, you got to go to college. Like, okay, I grew up that way. My father drilled it into my head. You got to go to college. Well, I didn't.
Well, they believed that.
I know I went to
they
college.
believed that at the time. You know,
Yeah, I know. I know.
they believed that.
Well, I did, and I graduated, and I became a painter. So,
did what you wanted anyway.
yeah.
I kind of took that route too. Well, I think we've covered just about everything that we need to cover, but I want to thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you.
One more thing before we do that. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that I didn't touch on for you?
Well, I think just letting everybody know how I feel, because you're voting for me, the person, so you can't say, like, I believe in the climate, and I know that we could do good things that way. How would I be when I get there? And I'm also the type that through my business, I want to make sure that everybody is addressed. Everybody, we take care of every concern.
Okay.
Best we can.
I think that's good points. So with that, I think we'll have to close. And thank you all for joining us with this edition of Today's History, Upper Ohio Valley. I'm your host, Bob Connors, and I will see you next time.